Hockey in Canada is our roots. Watching hockey, playing hockey, skating, our winters, the cold winters, it's our national sport. So I think it's something that Canadians take pride in. You can see that on the ice right now, there's probably 5 or 6 first-round OHL picks on this ice. These kids love it. If you told these kids that they had to be on the ice for 8 hours a day or go in the classroom for 8 hours a day, they would stay on the ice for 8 hours a day. I think it's embedded into our roots of who we are, and we take the utmost pride in maintaining that status of being the best hockey nation. Hi, I'm John Walters, certified agent through the National Hockey League Players Association, and I'm from Toronto, Ontario. For me personally, winning the Stanley Cup is the hardest trophy to win in sports, because it's just so physically grueling to go through all those series. And I still to this day, believe it or not, and I shouldn't be saying this, every time I see a team win the Stanley Cup and I see them lift it, I get a tear in my eye.
The Canadians win the Stanley Cup. Well, the pictures really tell the story. This is something to see. Is there a better game in the world?
To me, the most charming part of it all is just, you know, it's not about the money. It's more about like that trophy. Like, it's like, that's the pinnacle. Like, winning that trophy is like be all and end all of hockey. You could be, you know, I have Tyler Seguin, who's the highest paid player in the NHL this year. If I asked him tomorrow if he would forfeit his salary for the season to win the Stanley Cup and be the best player in the playoffs, he would say absolutely.
Rip it back up. Moving on now, Seguin all alone. Sensational play by Taylor Seguin.
Did we just witness the birth of a star? And if so, why did we not see this kid a little bit earlier in this?
And Tyler Seguin, gosh, I don't know if we just saw an emerging star. He was the 2nd pick overall, and that's the reason why he's playing tonight, because you have Savard and Bergeron out with concussions. And look at this kid.
So I met Tyler when he was 12 years old. He's now 30. I only coached him for 1 year. I ended up moving on as a coach, and Tyler ended up moving on playing a level up, a year up. But we'd stayed in contact and was always giving Tyler advice when I went to watch him play. And, like, you know, we just had a really good rapport. And when agents started contacting the family, they had asked me to come and sit in on a couple meetings. And a few unimpressive meetings. After our 3rd one, we were driving back and Tyler said, "John, why don't you become an agent and I'll be your first client?" And that's kind of how it started. Honestly, if you want to be a hockey player, it's 24 hours, 7 day a week, 365, day job. In terms of physical fitness, like going to the gym and working out is doing that, but it's how much you actually are doing that in order to be at the peak performance. How many hours of training are you actually putting in this things? And I created a bit of a checklist. Things that I look at, skating's number one. The game is so fast now. If you can't skate at a high speed, it's hard for you to even be in the mix of your shifts during the game, okay? The second thing I look for is hockey sense. Who's making the most plays? Who wants, to score or create an offensive chance, and how are they doing that? The third thing that I look at, I would say is the most important of the three is your compete level. How badly do you want to win? Are you winning your puck battles? Are you executing your passes? Are you a plus player? Do you block shots? How much do you want to win? So I would say between the skating, the hockey sense, and the compete level, those are the three biggest keys that I'm looking for in all players. And it's hard. I have a lot of conversations with young players, and it takes them a while to kind of figure out their characteristics of who they become as a player. And people like me in my industry, we really have to identify the characteristics of our players and really try and have them focus on that talent. Everybody wants to be Wayne Gretzky, and everybody wants to be Connor McDavid and Alex Ovechkin, but not everybody can be that. And it's okay if you're fourth defenseman on an NHL team, because you're still successful in life, right? And that's a huge part of that team if you're killing penalties, and just as important as the guy that's scoring the goals. Hockey is more now of a 12-month sport, as to oppose when I played many years ago. Hockey's evolved a little bit. You know, now you're starting to see through the spring and summer months where kids are still training 4 or 5 times a week. They're on the ice. They're traveling to Europe. They're traveling to the United States to play in these tournaments to keep their, in their game shape. So, the one thing that I would tell young players is to, 1, work on their skating, and then 2, their skill set and their hockey sets, if they can work on that. I wish China the best luck in the Olympics. I know that they're in a very tough division, but and I'm not sure who they're going to choose on the team, but I think that it's a very prideful country, and that they'll definitely put their best foot forward. And I encourage players anywhere around the world, including China, that there are more kids that play the game. This is a game that I grew up with and was my primary sport to this day. I'm in the business, as a player and then as a coach and a general manager. I think that there's as many people as there are in China. If there was more emphasis on playing hockey, I definitely think that you will see more and more Chinese players not only come over here, but get drafted to the NHL and eventually play in the NHL.